Loyalty is the most required quality in a person, and it rarely exists.
So I'm going to look at that side of you, which is the producer side, right? And I remember distinctly, although I don't have it on record anywhere, because there was some book I was working on where it was like a bunch of questions that you ask a bunch of filmmakers, and different answers will reveal their process, which at some point I got bored of. So, but then I had met you then. And Karan, I remember asking you why do you, because that was one of the questions, why do you make films? And it was the usual, you would have said something to the effect of storytelling or expressing and blah. But what you said was, I don't know why we produce films, because it's the most thankless job ever. This is around 2004-05 I'm talking about. Do you feel the same?
No, things have changed since then.
Yeah.
Because now you work with so many different energies and so many different people that you can learn from. And now the producer job, there is an active producer on set. Like we have producers and they get due credit for it. Now my job is like, I'm like kind of a studio head.
Right.
So I don't look at myself as
the world
an
is changing.
active. The active producer would have to be on set, manage logistics. I don't need to do that. You know, Apurva and I are. Apurva, of course, much more in the thick of things. He's like the fulcrum of the organization. I'm just creatively. My job is to just be creatively engaging with the filmmaker, the screenplay writers, the music forces of the film. I don't get into the really like tough stuff, which is like the active, which is really tough.
Actors' dates.
Dates. I don't get into all of that.
Locations and places.
No. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just like creatively sitting and jamming, watching rushes, sitting in the final edit, all the fun stuff. So that's why I'm very happy to produce multiple films.
Because at that time, I'm presuming you would have produced Kal Ho Na Ho.
Yeah.
Where you were the writer and I'm presuming a creative producer on the film, right? And that would have been one experience, or maybe another one or two.
That was 2003. Then we made a film called
That's been 20 years.
Then we made a film called Kaal in 2004. Then many years. Then we made Kabhi Alvida in 6. And then the job of what I was talking about started with Dostana, Wake Up Sid, I Hate Love Stories, Kurban, going into eventually Jawani Diwani and several others that began. So I'm like, that was when introducing new directors. Then the Humpty Sharma, Badrinath, then Shashank.
Which you've done so many
Shakun
of.
Came in, and Ayan came in. There was like before that there was Punit and Tarun and Nikhil, and there was just so many directors that started.
So the first one would be Nikhil, right?
Yeah.
And he's spoken recently about how once there was a fallout between the both of you and he had to move out of Dharma, he got no work for 3 years. What was that about? What happened?
I didn't know if it was a gap of 3 years that he got no work. The fallout, it's too far gone, firstly. We're friends, and I'm in fact very close to his two business partners, Madhu and Monisha, who I consider family to me. Nikhil and I went through a group. I think we had we had a creative, I think, fallout, and it was at an unfortunate time because my father was very critical. It was a time that Nikhil was hurting, I was hurting.
And you'd written the script.
Yeah, and it was just a tough time for us emotionally. And then when he left the umbrella, of the company, and obviously he went through his own, struggles, we went through emotional struggles, but at one point we met. I remember he had his daughter, and I met them on a flight. I still remember I met him, his wife Suparna, and his daughter. Everything changes when you see that visual, and I just gave them all a big hug, and I was like, what's in the past is in the past, and there's nothing. And there, in that situation, I got really close to Madhu and Monisha, and they went on to become very close friends of mine. Ironically though, my real friendship in that MA Entertainment force of a company is the two of them. Nikhil and I are absolutely wonderful. We meet, there's a lot of love. There's a lot of exchange of nostalgia and memories. He and I have so many memories.
He was a senior in school,
yes, he was a senior at school, and we built so much together. In fact, I attribute my knowledge of cinema grammar and camera grammar to him. Like, I was quite clueless on my first film. I just knew mid shot, wide shot, close shot, and he taught me all the optics, that were required. So I will always feel in many ways he also mentored my technique in cinema. So I will, for that, be forever grateful.